wanted to jump on here real quick because I have a pretty interesting project that I'm working on. I got a phone call. It was like 6 o'clock on Friday night that a previous employee did not finish creating evacuation maps for a multi-tenant housing program, and the owners of the building, or the builders, they need those evacuation maps to pass their CO, their certificate of occupancy, so they can actually start moving people into those buildings. So we got a phone call. They were looking for the temporary maps that we were supposed to print out on paper so they could put on the wall to pass their inspections, and we couldn't find the files anywhere in the computers. There was a previous employee who's no longer working for the company that did not finish those maps. So there's 4 different buildings. I think I've shown some stuff here on Sign Agent about this project, but anyway, we have to make those evacuation maps, and I thought it would be pretty interesting to kind of see how I do this, and especially in a short time frame. So here I have my computer does not like these architectural plans at all, by the way, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing here. Let's see if this one will kind of load for us though. So basically, I would start by importing the architectural plans that are vector format. So I definitely wouldn't do all the pages together. These plans I actually have broken up into individual PDFs, like per page. So this is my second floor here of this building. There we go. And this is the life safety plan, I believe, for in the architectural drawings. But either way, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that I have this outline of the building, and I could see the hallways and the stairwells, because those are the 3 main important things that you're going to need. And then we're also going to put the fire extinguishers on these plans. So I don't want to zoom in to this plan. It'll probably freeze the computer. I'll try a little bit. But the fire extinguisher should also just be called out. And then the main thing why I wanted to make this video is because I want to show you exactly what needs to go on a map, evacuation map, and how we're going to do that. So there's a couple things you're going to want besides your actual plan, which you have to have the emergency number, which in this case it would be 911. You have to have the address of the building, because if someone is standing in front of this map and they call 911, they need to know where they're located. So it will have an address. It's going to have the "you are here" star to mark out where that person is standing if they're looking at the map. And then we're going to have 2 exit routes. So we're going to have a kind of like a dotted, or like a dashed line, which is going to be the second route, but we're going to have a solid line, which is going to be their first route. So if one route is obviously blocked off, they have a second way that they can get out of the building. There's a couple other things I'm probably forgetting right now, but as we go along, I'll pull up some of the ADA requirements. I think it's ADA, or it might be the fire marshal requirements. I know I have the document somewhere that kind of calls out everything you do need on these maps. So I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna get my outline of my building here. I'm gonna get the stairwells and the hallways marked out, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll finish the plans together. As you could see in this one, because this is the actual file that I'm working on, I've already started to kind of cut out some of this outside stuff in the architectural plan. So basically I'm deleting everything that I don't need, which this is kind of a long way to do it. If you want to go super fast, I could just trace or make boxes around all these different shapes and get that actual shape of the outline of the building, which it's not that important, but I just felt like it would be easier if I used the actual outline of the building and kind of kept all these walls and stuff in there. It just makes it look a little nicer, I guess. But yeah, we'll see what happens. If I have a hard time deleting a lot of this stuff around here, I might just go in and outline trace everything with like squares and then kind of blend it all together. But this will be the before, and then I will hop back on in a little bit and I'll show you the after. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and yeah, this is probably going to be my whole day. I have my homework here that I'm working on part of my bachelor's degree, and I also have my website up here that I've been working on building my website for you guys here to kind of keep everything in one place. So I have a lot going on this Sunday morning, but now I didn't think that this was going to take as long as it did. I thought that the previous employee already had like at least the outlines of the building going, but at least it'll make a good video for us to see how the before and after of making these evacuation maps is going to go. All right, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I 100% changed my mind on this. I started deleting the little lines and all this stuff, as you can see here in this corner, and it's going to take me way too long. Like, I'm not about to waste my whole time doing this all day long because this is only floor 2. I still have to do 3 other floors in this building, and I'm pretty sure that I have to do a whole nother building as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select this whole map. I mean, it was good that I cut out a lot of the other stuff, but I'm just going to take this drawing. I'm going to lock it so I can't move any of the objects on here. And I'm going to go over and draw boxes over every single square, basically. And I'll change the outline of them, make them a little thicker so I can see them. And then I'll start blending all of that together. So when I lock this object, it's gonna not let me touch or move anything on here. So see, I can click and drag, which I don't know if you could see that I'm dragging, but anything that I click on now, it's not gonna be able to be moved. So the other good thing about that is when I take my rectangle tool and I go over these squares, when I am done making the square and then I want to go back and say like I made 4 squares, I want to select them all. When I go over and I select them all, it would only select my squares that I drew, as you could see here. So we're going to keep that background locked, and I'm just going to keep going over, and I'm going to try to get as close to all of my nodes that I can if it lets me grab them, because it might try to let me grab them from underneath. But I'm gonna get like the most basic shape squares out of this, and then I'm gonna go and blend it all in and just call out I'll probably do one background color, say like a tan color for all these rooms and everything outside of that, and then I'll call out the stairwells as different colors, and we'll add our stars on the map, we'll add our routes of escape, and then we'll call out our fire extinguishers, and then should kind of be good from there. So I'll come back after I do all these squares and get them all together, and then we can kind of go from there together. It'll be a little bit easier and faster. Okay, so what I did, I actually had to take a screenshot of the architectural drawings. So I had to use my snipping tool here. I took a screenshot of the architectural drawings because I had to convert it into a bitmap. The vector drawings, my computer was going way too slow. So you could see here that now it's just a bitmap image behind my squares. So here's the bitmap here. You can see there's no lines, there's no vector. I'm going to put it back up here. And then I actually kind of made it a little bit easier because it wasn't trying to grab all the nodes from the background vector file when I was drawing all of my boxes. So I took my rectangle tool, I did all my boxes, I outlined all these rooms out here and made sure that I got basically the hallway shape was the most important thing with the stairwells and the elevator room. So I would go back and forth and click on the bitmap and hide it. And then now I can see my outline, and I kind of would just go back and forth. So I would undo, redo, and make sure that I just had all these rooms marked out. You can see like here there's a little gap, which there's like a shaft room there. So I'm gonna go back now and kind of clean all this up, and then from there I'm just gonna fill in all these outlines because I really don't need them all called out like that. So I drew another box and I'm gonna hide it. now I could see how my lines don't perfectly match up, but what we're going to do is I'm going to go back and just match all these together. I will make sure all the lines kind of match up a little bit more, and then all I'm going to do is fill them in with like a color. So I think I'm going to pick like a maybe a tan color right now, and then I'll go back and map out I think the hallway. If I leave the hallway white, which I could do that too, I could also fill in all these as white and get rid of all the extra lines, but we'll go back and I have to do for every map. So there's actually 3 maps on this floor. There's going to be one by the stairwell, one by the elevator, and one by the other stairwell. We have to label those stairwells, label that the elevators are here, and then again, we have to do our solid line and our dashed line to show the exit routes. So I'll come back after I get my basic layout of the shape, and this is actually the same, we'll use this same layout for every floor because all the floors are laid out the same in this building. I think there's 4 floors. So floor 1 is a little different. I don't think it has a middle section. It's kind of like an open walkthrough area, but floors 2 through 4 are exactly the same. The only thing that will have to change is the labeling basically on every sign, but I'll come back when I have this map fully drawn out now. Okay, so as you can see here, I went back through, I cleaned up all my lines, I welded my lines together if I had like multiple squares in one part of each unit, and I, got everything just leveled out nice and straight to kind of make it look exactly like the original layout. So over here you could see I have my bitmap still, but it's hidden, so I'm going to show it, and you can see again, what I did was I went through, I made squares of all these squares, and then I went back and just cleaned it up, welded all them together, and made my hallway a little bit more definite. Now I'm going to add the doors, add photos of the stairwells and the elevators, and I don't think I'm going to fill in the color of these buildings yet. I just have to see what if the client has put anything down for that. I might do it like a light color, but let me add some of these little objects, and then I'll come right back and show you how far I've gotten. Okay, so as you can see here, I added all the information here, and I actually took my layout of my sign background. So this is going to be the actual evacuation map that's acrylic, and then we're doing the map artwork for them. So I had to take the size out of here, which ended up being, I believe, 13. I don't know. So overall, it's 13 by 18. And then here, my artwork that's in the middle is 11 by 17. So I took that shape, and then I had to make the actual map smaller to fit on there. And then I also want to show you what we have to add here to be kind of compliant to the code. So we're going to put the address on there. So basically you want to think about if this person is like running up to the map in the middle of an emergency, like what information they're going to need to know without knowing where they are, right? So we're going to give them the address. We're going to give them the name of the apartment complex, specifically for this one because it's an apartment complex within multiple other retail buildings, like a gas station. They have retail, different buildings like around these apartments. It's all one kind of big complex. So we're going to tell them that they're in the Sweetwater apartments, they're in building C, and they're on floor 2, which is super important. I haven't put my "You Are Here" star yet on the map because I have to make 3 different maps for every floor because there's 3 maps on every floor. So every map is obviously going to be different. There's one on the left, there's one by the elevators, and there's one on the right side of the building. And I have to put those stars and those primary and secondary evacuation routes out of the building. I have to do that for every single map on every floor. So again, I'm just giving you a little bit of oversight on this and how I kind of put this all together, but we're going to have our legend down on the bottom. We're going to have our "You Are Here" stars. We're going to have our primary route, our secondary route. We labeled our fire extinguishers. We have our stairwells labeled, and the image that shows, if there's a fire, use the stairs. We have our elevator image just in case there's not a fire, if there's some kind of other emergency, if they can use the elevators. We're going to put do not use elevators because you really don't want them using them. I mean, the number one emergency is going to be a fire. Even if it's like an earthquake, you're still going to want to use the stairwells. And then we're definitely going to put in case of emergency, call 911 because, I mean, it's 911 for this county, town, state, but if you're somewhere else, it might be a different number. But that's the number they're going to call if there is an emergency. So now I'm gonna actually do those primary and secondary routes and the You Are Here stars, and I'll do this for this floor, and that'll kind of wrap up this whole video. But let me add those real quick and I'll just show you what I do for those. Okay, so as you can see here, I have the 3 different maps now. So there's obviously one map on every floor in a different area. So on the first one here, I have the You Are Here star over here. And then the exit route is going to be this blue arrow. These maps were kind of hard to deal with because the stars are big. We want them to be seen, but also the maps are small and there wasn't like a lot of room here, but with the fire extinguisher too. But anyway, we have the star here. The blue arrow is telling them to go down the stairwell. Then the secondary route is obviously going to tell them to go down the hallway to the second set stairs over there. Then my middle map here is going to go on the wall by the elevator lobby, so they're going to be there when they're looking at the map. Their first route is going to be the closest stairwell, which was C1, and the second route is going to be the green one that brings them to stair 2. And then for the third one is all the way at the other end of the hallway. Same thing with the star. It was kind of hard to put the star exactly where the map is, but they'll get they'll understand where they are. And then we just have that blue arrow pointing to the stairwell and the secondary one pointing to the opposite stairwell. So I actually in this same time frame went ahead and did the signs for the other building. So this complex has 4 buildings and 2 of each are the same. So building C is the same as building A, I believe, and then building F is the same as building B or something like that. But anyway, there's 2 different layouts. So this is building F, which I was showing before in one of my sign agent videos. Building F was one of the ones we were working on placing the inner stairwell signs. So here on building floor, this was a little difficult too because there's an evacuation map in a lobby, but the lobby is actually directly outside or inside doors. So the You Are Here star is here, and then they're going right outside. Here there's a split between the building because it's covered. It's like a covered walkway underneath these other floors, but it's just shown like that. I guess it's a little different. And then here I have for my next set of levels, like each floor. So floor 2 has the same thing, 3 maps on each floor, all the way to the left, all the way to the center, and all the way to the right side of the hallway. And then I just repeated that going to the next floor. So floor 3 was the same layout, and then floor 2, same layout, and floor 3, and then the same thing with floor. So here you could see all of the maps for this one building. This actually took me a really long time because not only did I have to do, I did the first building kind of with you guys, which was building C, but then I started working on building F, and I had to do 2 different sets of the plans. So in the beginning of the video, I told you how I had to import the architectural drawings and I had to outline all the squares. So I had to do that for floors 2 through 4, but floor 1 was a different layout because these are actually retail spaces down here. So I had to redo that, and that's a little time consuming. You want like your lines to be kind of straight and look okay. So that's the most time consuming part, and then kind of laying out the fire extinguishers. And then when you get to the end where you're laying out your primary and secondary routes, it's not that hard because I just changed over here on my outline. I used the outline one. I didn't change it to like an actual object because if you do that, then you have all different shapes and sizes going on. But if you keep an outline and you just make your outline thicker, you can change your outline to all these different kinds of dots. So that was pretty easy because even like if I had to switch now and do like the next map over here and make my dotted line a solid line, all I had to do was click over here and change that. So the laying the routes out was actually the easier part. I would say drawing the squares and putting the little legend signs on the map, that was probably the harder part. But yeah, thank you for watching this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than welcome to help anyone if they have any plans they need help with, if they're having a hard time outlining them, if they're having a hard time screenshotting it and doing any of that, just let me know. I'm always here to help. Subscribe if you want to see more. Make sure you like this video so I can have more ambition to keep making more of these, because this did take me 7 hours today, and yeah, that was my whole Sunday. It's now 6 o'clock. So thank you for watching again, and make sure you like and follow. Thanks.